I just wrapped up a full day of work and now I'm filming a YouTube video. Sound exhausting? Definitely can be. But if you've ever wanted to start and grow on YouTube while also having a full-time job, it is 100% possible. The biggest challenge for most people, including myself, is finding the time. This means trying not to sacrifice sleep, social time, time with my partner, or just my own sanity. In this video, I'll show you exactly how I balance both, how I stay consistent, and the systems I use to make this sustainable. So if you're considering starting a channel while having a full-time job and don't think you're gonna have time, or if you're just struggling to juggle work and YouTube right now, let's talk about how to make it work. So why doing this is so hard? Let's be real. Doing YouTube while also being employed full-time is not easy. Now, it goes without saying there's a lot of people out there that work 2, 3, 4 jobs just to make ends meet, so I certainly sympathize with that. That said, today we are talking about having a full-time 9 to 5, approximately 40-hour per week job, and also balancing YouTube as a part-time content creator. Now, most of us, when we're done with a full day, we're mentally and maybe even physically exhausted. You're probably drained, you don't feel like you can be creative, and some days you just don't have the energy. The last thing you want to do is sit down and film or edit for hours on end. I get it. I've been there. I've had weeks where I planned to film and then got comfortable on the sofa and said, you know what, I can do this tomorrow. And then it became the next day and the next day. And I'm not proud of this, but for example, this video, I put off filming this right here for 3 days. But here's the thing. If you put the right systems in place, YouTube doesn't have to feel like a second full-time job. It actually becomes something that you can look forward to rather than something that drains you. So how do I make time for YouTube? If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I'm a VP of sales at a tech company here in New York City, and I work 40 to 50, sometimes 60 hours a week, depending on what's going on at work. So how am I also making YouTube videos 1 to 2 times a week without burning out? I definitely do not wake up at 5 a.m. to edit videos before work. As a matter of fact, I'm a night owl by nature. So what I try to do is I try to make filming and editing fit into my natural routine. For example, I try not to film one video at a time. I try to batch shoot these videos and have the scripts and everything else prepared ahead of time. So that way I can sit down in this chair and knock out multiple videos at one time. Now, this isn't always easy, and I'm certainly shot one at a time, but it's a lot easier to film once you're already doing it. So what I do recommend is try to shoot multiple videos at once. Bring a couple of different shirts if you want to, so it doesn't necessarily look like you filmed them all back to back. You don't have to worry about adjusting your camera settings every time, making sure your audio is good, your lighting is just right. And the same thing goes for editing. Don't just jump into it at random times if you can help it. I try to plan specific evenings or weekends where I know I'm gonna have a nice chunk of time to sit down in front of my computer and edit without interruption. I may be even able to get 1 or 2 videos done in one sitting, which makes me much more efficient than if I was just jumping in and out every time I had 10 to 15 minutes of free time. If you're interested in learning more about some tools that can help you be more efficient as a new YouTuber, check out this recent video I did where I cover all of the platforms that I'm currently using, from planning to scripting to editing to SEO and optimization. Another thing I do here, and I highly recommend you do this as well, is to keep your full-time job work hours and your YouTube hours completely separate. You do not want to start mixing these, and you certainly don't want to impact your career. But if you're trying to focus on whatever your full-time job is and you're trying to go back and forth between YouTube, you're probably not going to be as efficient, and it's probably going to take you even more time than it normally would. So what does my personal routine look like? I'm usually planning and scripting my content in the evenings after work, whenever I have an hour or 2 after dinner. And then when Fridays or the weekends roll around, that is when I'm diving into filming and editing. That way I'm not scrambling, trying to fit everything into one day. And honestly, for me, it makes it way less overwhelming than if I was trying to take a whole Saturday and start from scratch all the way to uploading a video. Now, the biggest mistake most people make when they try to start YouTube while having a full-time job is they try to do too much too soon. When I first started this channel a little over a month ago, I knew it was important to upload consistently in order to grow. Now, my original goal was to upload 2 to 3 videos a week, making sure that I gave the YouTube algorithm enough information to categorize my channel, recognize my niche, and put my videos in front of the people that they were aimed at. And guess what? I found out really quickly that 2 to 3 videos a week while being employed full-time was just simply not sustainable. There may be 1 or 2 weeks out of the last 6 that I've been able to do that, but in reality, 1 to 2 videos a week is about as much as I can accomplish right now without burning out. So assuming by watching this video and probably others, you're doing your research on starting a YouTube channel, I'm sure you've heard this already, but it is very true that YouTube is not a sprint, it is a marathon. We all need to be prepared to do this consistently for years in order to potentially replace our full-time job one day. And if you burn yourself out early, there's no way you're making it to the finish line. So I had to personally step back and ask myself, what is realistic for me? You may be different depending on your situation, but regardless, I wouldn't focus on how fast you can grow and uploading tons of videos every week. I would focus on staying consistent and making sure that it's enjoyable and sustainable long-term. Because at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying this, what are you doing it for, right? YouTube is fun, but it also takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of time. So if it starts to feel like a second full-time job, you're probably not doing it right. So here's my final thoughts. If you're trying to balance being a YouTuber, starting a YouTube channel while also having a full-time job, it is most definitely possible. I'm currently doing it. Many other hundreds of thousands or millions of people are probably doing it as well. I think you just have to be smart about it and not overcommit out of excitement. So let me know in the comments, what's your biggest struggle with balancing YouTube and work? And if this video helped you, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be making more content on how to grow your YouTube channel in 2025, how to be more successful in your career, and maybe even do both at the same time. I appreciate you watching today's video. So thanks again for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.